versus Disrupt as well. So as we get into the map ban phase here, or the operator ban phase, what's your expectation? Should we have expectations?
My expectation is probably, well, I mean, to be frank, Parker, it's all speculation. Like, there is no true, because we don't have any evidence to support an actual educated opinion on this. So it's just, yeah, I think probably Oxygen's going to do well. And look at that. This is interesting. Both of the SAS attackers banned out Thatcher and Sledge. We saw a Sledge ban earlier today, also on Clubhouse, and that did do a number on Disrupt. I wonder if it's going to have a similar effect here on XSET.
Okay, what the heck is going on with these Sledge bans, Michael?
Yeah, we don't see this. This is different. It just, I mean, I guess it's a new meta siege thing.
As somebody who has more family living in Scotland than in Canada, I take great offense to the Scottish operator getting banned.
Do we have any other Scottish operators?
No.
Okay, well,
no.
That's underrepresentation there from the Scottish.
There's only five. There's only 5 operators for the United Kingdom.
One of them Scottish.
Clash, Thatcher, Mute, and Smoke are all from the UK. Are all from England. So.
I mean, yeah, he's gone now. I didn't know that you had more family in Scotland than in Canada. I feel like you've told me that before, but I think I just forgot it because I'm a bad friend.
It's the homeland.
Yeah.
Attackers need to locate and
it's the motherland, so to speak. Anyway, let's get into this. And okay, XSET is going to start on the bomb site, Michael, that most teams loathe to come to. This is going to be a gym master defense, and that's a little peculiar. Let's put it that way. This is the bomb site that most teams on defense lose on, and yet XSET chooses it first. What do they know that we don't?
Well, I mean, it also could be that they know that and they're just playing into it. Sometimes it's nice to go to your worst site first to try and either A, catch your opponent off guard, or B, just to see if you can take it early and get that anxiety out of the way. Rip off the band-aid, so to speak. So, it could be that. It could just be that they feel confident about their setup on this site. And either one is possible. Whatever it is, I mean, we are where we are, and I think it's going to be interesting, if anything.
We are where we are is very. That's like suburban housewife energy. That's like you put that on the wall next to the Live, Laugh, Love poster.
Yeah, you're kind of right, actually.
We are where we are.
I didn't really think about it that way.
Because of who we are.
I meant it literally, not figuratively.
Right there. Well, it's too late now.
I mean, I'm not.
Next thing you know, people are going to be printing it on mugs.
Oh, no.
They're going to be looking at it, sitting on their mantelpiece in their slippers, drinking their wine. Now this is what you've done. So
I actually want a nice couple red after this conversation. Oxygen.
It's a very odd thing to just say.
What?
Because of this talk, I would love an alcoholic beverage.
As you mentioned, Parker, I am a suburban housewife.
Oh, right, of course.
I have a van, and I drive my kids to
We've got
soccer
the hair
practice.
for it.
I do, and it doesn't take care of itself, Parker. It's a lot of work. So I'm halfway in there.
We can get into your grooming routine after this, Michael, but we are now 1.5 minutes into this action.
Action? What action?
I mean, take a look.
Lack thereof.
Vertical is going to catch the Goyo here of Creators, or maybe get caught by Thomas instead. Swing or be swung will be the motto for both of these teams, I have no doubt, and obviously they're swinging. Done by XSET. They get the very first pick of this matchup.
That's a good start there for XSET. We'll see what the answer is from Oxygen. They're a little bit spread out. I will say Oxygen does not seem to have a clear strategy, and it's going to bite them as Filthy gets another kill for XSET. Suddenly, Oxygen waves, but Kino over by Red Stairs will eliminate Thomas, who is attempting to flank and apply more pressure. A pressure is applied of sorts, though, as Kino has been put down to 25 HP. So even though Kino's gotten a kill, he's essentially been traded out preemptively, even though he hasn't actually. It's still, in effect, going to lose him the next fight unless Kino lands a nasty headshot. Oh, he's capable of doing that. A little bit of a pause here in the action, and both of these teams contemplate their options. That's great use of the Evil Eye to destroy the Goyo shield, but Kino will answer back as Butters goes down, still on his camera. 2v2 as Kino gets his 3rd kill. He's going huge in this round, but look at the HP. It still favors XSET. They should be able to win out in this 2v2.
He's real close, and there's his 4th kill. How about that? Can he get it first round? And it's an ace in his first round, Michael. First round, first pro match, and he's making a statement. Why not?
We've been hyping up Kino all through the lead into this match, and you can see Foxe is just as hyped as we are, as I'm sure Kino is. The man really shows up, as you said, Parker. Well put. His first ever professional round. He gets an ace. Could be the start of a long-lasting legacy that we look back on fondly 2 years from now.
Just like we saw J90 got an ace on this before. I mean, obviously it wasn't J90's debut. He's played quite a number of matches, in fact, at this level, but it is still an impressive thing because he doesn't have a wealth of experience in front of him. And here,
defenders, protect your bombs from being defeated.
what an incredible debut from Kino. Yaga, it's your turn. So just, just step up at your leisure. We're waiting on your ace at some point by the end of the matchup. So if you could get that, that'd be great. Thank you.
No pressure, Yaga. All right. So with a start like that, it looked really good for XSET. I think, Parker, I don't know if you'd agree with me here, but I do think that XSET set themselves up for success in that last round.
XSET did?
Yeah, I think that XSET set themselves up.
Yeah, I
for
would argue
success.
that, I mean, I would argue that XSET was probably fundamentally the better team strat-wise, but we can say this time and time again. You could be the most prepped for a strat, but if you just lose a couple gunfights, the strat itself doesn't really matter if you don't have the bodies to cover it or you lost the duels that you needed to win for that strat to work, right? So...
Right. I mean, we could, I guess, chalk it up to one of those shoulda, coulda, woulda rounds for XSET. And Kino, I mean, just the hero plays. Speaking of Kino, he's going to open up the wall into server. And there you go. Open sesame. Easy as it comes. No denial at all. And there are some gates on the wall. That's going to slow things down, but at least the breaching is done.
That's decent timing, I guess. 30 seconds, 40 seconds off the clock, and you've already opened that one up. Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty efficient there, I'd say, on the hard breach. And I think that Oxygen, getting that out of the way, you know, I talked about it with the defensive, like where are you going to go defensively? Maybe Jim to get it out of the way. Sometimes it could be the same thing in the middle of a round. If you get just this one little piece of utility done, that opens you up to play so many other angles. And that's going to be the case here for Kino, I think.
Looked like Creators had a beat on Vertical down by the top of blue, but instead, I don't think he's really all that eager to engage. Now he's going to look at the top of the window from the position that he's at. And if Vertical doesn't look at this from the right angle, then, well, the Zofia will absolutely die. It's a shot that both of them are more than capable of making. Obviously, Creators formerly of that old Tempo Storm roster. We're going to see another one of his teammates in Dream play in our very next matchup for Mirage as they go toe-to-toe with Dark Zero. The only team that we have off today is Space Station. So if you're an SSG fan, sorry, you're out of luck. You're not going to be able to see them.
1 minute left in this round, and neither team has managed to see anybody. Speaking of, it's, well, been a little bit of a, just a standoff. Nobody actually taking any engagements despite all the destruction that has been wrought onto these reinforced walls. Here comes the first layer of, actually, scratch that, the last gas canister from Thomas, who's apparently been using them all this while, despite us not seeing them. Here comes counter utility from the attack, and a nice shot from Foxe. He'll get the C4 just because, why not, right? And he's able to also pick up the first kill onto Drip. Looks like it's going to be an attempted plant here. Kino will get the entry on the Fragmite and go for the plant deep inside of Cash, not on the default spot. Meanwhile, most of these defenders are too distracted to deny Kino's plant. And there it is, post-plant, and only 2 defenders left. The retake here from Creators is actually going to net 2. One downstairs, one above with the C4. That's Kino on the floor. Foxe loses his fight in server, meaning it's just Yaga in the 1v2. Inside of Workshop, he's not in the best position, but it's certainly workable. He has to win both of these fights. He can't let this go into a denial on the diffuser. Bad attempt at the cover of the cross there. Creators will get to that diffuser, and Filthy swings through the breach, getting control over Workshop. He's going to try and do vertical on the diffuser from below. This might work out very well for him, in fact. Yaga, masterful use of utility, but it doesn't work in the end, and Creators will get it with just 1 second extra. An incredibly close round, but XSET clutches it up in the 2 versus 3.
Just to add insult to injury, they left Kino down that entire time to witness what was occurring. Just so he could see the defeat firsthand right along with us, son. We got an ace last round, but that's about it. This is your stop. Please get off. So XSET able to come back on a nice retake strategy, and OXG thinking that they have full control of the bomb site. Not quite where they wanted to be. This is now 2 rounds in a row where the setup for XSET has looked good and looked very strong. Oxygen obviously is a team whose guns are simply better than most of the opponents they play on. I think one of the greatest things that both Kino and Yaga are going to bring to this team is that in terms of duels, they can duel extremely well. They have a very high upside. They're both very good with their aim. They're both very accurate. And Bio and Slash were as well. So I'm curious to see if OXG are going to be tinkering a little bit, knowing that there's some different strengths in both Kino and Yaga and what they bring to the table. But if you're a team like XSET, XSET can very easily be overwhelmed from a strategic standpoint. We didn't really get to see them at the top level because obviously they came from Challenger League. They were known as rent-free and they did all right. But the thing that we got to see the best from them were the SI quals. Not just the SI quals, but also the Pro-Am that just took place. And the one thing that I noted about XSET the entire time was that they are a team that can out-aim most of their opponents as well, similar to Oxygen, but their strategies and their fundamentals didn't look very good. Not as strong and not as sharp, and it took them a while to get in the game. They're already in the game right now, and their fundamentals look really good, which obviously bodes well for them for the remainder of the map.
Certainly does. Slow going here in the early stages of this round. It's a bottom floor defense, but you can see a extensive roam from XSET. This has become a lot more normal over the last few years on Clubhouse. Butters is going to get downed above. Looks like it was from Kitchen through the hole that Butters made himself. So just a good read there from Yaga. And Butters will likely be retrieved, but his HP is still chipped away at.
It's a late setup there from Butters. If he's only got a tiny bit of HP, you might as well throw out that last pest here. Creator's position's been given away, and he's just unable to look in the correct direction. He looks to the right, but his opponent comes from the left, and down he goes. OXG able to continue onward with that now, as it's Filthy who's next to fall in line. So XSET will need to dramatically peel back, as they've lost 3 of the 5 players, and despite what appeared to be a setup above, it's in fact a downstairs defense. So this is shades of our very first matchup of the night on Clubhouse, where you are without basically anybody at this point. Kino's going to break on in, and it's 1 kill for Drip, but all that to say, it was just XSET prolonging the inevitable, as OXG make very quick work on that round.
Yeah, after the initial clear upstairs, you take down 3 of your roamers. One of them manages to make it back to site, but with, less HP than he had. It really did look over at that point already. We've seen rounds like that before where the roam just does not pan out for the defenders on the bottom floor, and it costs them the entire round. This is normal. It's not weird. It was just well done from Oxygen. They won their heads-up gunfights. We like to talk a lot about the utility and the angles and the control and so on and so on. But a lot of the time, those roams on the bottom floor of this map mostly just comes down to timing, positioning, and did he win the gunfight? And, well, Oxygen, they sure did on every instance upstairs. We'll go to the gym next, as clearly XSET are not feeling very comfortable on the bottom floor. They're going to just go ahead and try gym one more time.
I was making a note here, writing down the bomb site from the previous round, and then I just erased it because I was like, oh, gym another time. And I was like, did I miss something? And I start to write down gym again after I just removed it to write down church. And I realized, okay, I'm an idiot. So,
yeah,
just in case anybody wants me on the record saying that I'm a dummy, there you go, you got it. So
I have weird note-taking tendencies too sometimes with the site that I'm selecting. Oftentimes I'll just write down the wrong, I'll write down one and then I'll just forget that I wrote it down, and then I'll write it down again. So we'll be halfway through the round and I'll write down the same exact site the second time, in the next column. And I'm like, wait a minute, we're not on round 5. So I have dummy practices too with my notes sometimes.
So let's take a look at what we see on this defense here, because it is the second crack at Gym Master for XSET. We talked about how they looked like they had everything working for them and how they had everything aligned quite well, and it still kind of fell off. Now, they're not investing all that much in the eastern side of the building. For those of you that aren't aware, the top floor eastern side is cache CCTV, and already OXG's been able to open that one up and are now going to go back onto drones in this discovery phase. And OXG will break into the building while XSET had recalled all of their forces and in fact look to be committing to a separate roam now that it's a minute into the round.
Yeah, I mean, this real estate is so free that Oxygen, they're gonna take it. I mean, you can't say no to that. The cache control now well established here for the attack, and they've got plenty of time, I would say, to continue their attack into the actual site. I love this Goyo shield setup here with the Evil Eye. It's also good for shooting drones, of course, but I love the way that Butters is going to use that Evil Eye to shoot the Goyo. It's good delay. It also forces out utility. You can see, actually, the attackers have used some utility there to destroy the Goyo before that happens. But that's still, like, that's an explosive, likely an Ash charge used up to destroy that shield. Run out for Thomas does not net anything, but the C4 from Filthy does over by Jacuzzi Balcony.
And you can see there's quite a lot of C4s remaining. Still 2 in the hands of XSET right now as down goes Butters to Fox. Fox putting in a good performance so far for his team and just trailing Kino, who'd been that very first death. He'll go on to drone now as Yaga just unfortunately deals with Jaeger in the wrong way, but off the drone he goes and down goes the Jaeger of Drip. A nice shot from Craters. That's long range through the soft wall, and it's just back and forth over and over. And if this keeps bleeding out, the next set spot. Vertical in a 1v2, but his position known at the top of the stairs. He's got so much work to do. And down in the middle of the ground is a shotgun of Filthy, and it ends up claiming its intended target. The seesaw that is this map will continue, and this time go in XSET's direction. We are tied up 2-2.
Man, the sheer amount of, like, verbal warfare going on at this LAN environment. I don't know, because every single match so far pretty much has been teams shouting at each other every time they take a round. And that's true here as well as it was in the first match. It's cool to see, honestly. We got some really funny memes out of that first match. Sonic's with some hilarious hand gestures. Overall, this match, 2 rounds each team. It's been a back and forth. Doesn't seem like either team's going to be able to break away. We've seen some huge gaps in the attacks of Oxygen so far. Major mistakes being made, and lack of refrag potential is one thing I'm noting quite a lot here. There's many rounds where XSET will just get a pick, and there's no one there to answer it for Oxygen.
It's funny that you say that about both XSET and Oxygen, because Oxygen does that on defense as well, and it's a very unique style to Oxygen, and they probably hate that we always bring it up. But I mean, it needs to be brought up. At the end of the day, Oxygen likes to play their setups far from each other, where everybody tends to have a small piece of the puzzle, and you got to put it all together. But you got to come together to put it together.
Yeah.
So you'll end up with 4 players on wildly different parts of the map. And maybe they'll be droning each other, and maybe they'll be working off of their own drone. Maybe they'll just have a certain job and they're not expecting somebody to be there, or it gets droned out and then they can move on it. But you nailed it. The problem is that there's very limited refrag potential, and that's huge, especially at this level, because if teams are able to play off of that and make those trades, you're always going to keep your opponent close, and you're never really going to give up too much ground.
Hard breach done there on the main server wall. Oxygen once again trying to get that done early so that they could focus on other things. It's also a west over clear. As you can see, they've tried to clear out below west side and above west side, so they're already successful in that. Every defender from XSET is on the eastmost half of the map currently. They're just waiting out the onslaught. This makes sense. The last time XSET did this, they bunkered up on site. They were actually victorious, despite Oxygen's pretty good start to the round, where they were able to get the diffuser down deep inside of cache, and it looked like Oxygen was going to take it last time we were here, but XSET got the upset.
Creators had also played really loose over by Strip, if you recall, at the start of the round before he got recalled over. So we'll see exactly where he's going to play off of his position right now in blue. OXG have a lot of control of this bomb site, and it looks like XSET is actually playing a little scared, at least both Drip and Thomas, because they don't know what's going to come from over towards construction. This is a similar position from OXG on this take that we saw last time, and you were a little critical of how long, or how quickly rather, Thomas had burned through all those toxic canisters. Well, he's got 2 left and there's a minute to go. Make that 1. He'll try to smoke off construction. Fox A on the window by construction. Looking into CCTV, we'll get the very first pick on to Drip. I don't know exactly what the Kaid was doing, but obviously not in his best interests to sit the remainder of this round out.
Control over by the platform is going to do Oxygen well as they are able to get a kill off of it. That's Kino onto Creators, but Thomas peeking aggressively inside of Server does get the refrag. However, XSET is still 1 man down despite that. And a second for Thomas. Great pre-fire and awareness. Yaga gets filthy, and I'm not really sure why there's garage pressure as it's a construction push. Yaga's in with the double kill. He needs his teammate for cover and for the plant. A near miss there for Butters. He could have put this into a one-on-one, and he still can if he takes the fight correctly, but he won't. Vertical wins out on that fight, and Oxygen will win the round despite being so incredibly disjointed.
It was a chaotic round, that's absolutely for sure. Why are you splitting your forces up between garage and construction? It doesn't really seem to make much sense to me. Yaga bulldozes his way into the bomb site, but unfortunately for him and his team, they didn't have access to that diffuser. It had been surrendered just a couple meters away. Yaga would have to make a course correction to go pick it back up, but I think they were worried that if they let the Aruni in that position reposition, then they lose some control of cash, and it makes Yaga's job a lot harder. All the while, the last member of OXG is all the way out on the balcony looking into CCTV and isn't really keen to get off that rappel because A, you'll be extremely vulnerable, and B, it's a lot harder to hit your target when they're on a rappel than it is when they're fully standing. So it really is curious that that's what it ended up working out to, and it was just, it ended up just being a bunch of pugilists all just throwing punches at each other. And whoever landed that last punch ended up winning the whole round. In this case, I will say this, both teams were trading very effectively, which was a criticism that we leveled at them just moments before the action started. So that's nice to see, but we don't know if there's going to be any consistency behind that or if that was just a one-off.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta be honest, I think Oxygen's just... I hate to say it like this, but it's a good thing that Yaga fragged out inside of cash. Because as soon as like half the manpower on the construction push just diverted to garage and yeah, platform, admittedly, you need someone on platform. It became a much more difficult attack for Yaga and Oxygen as a whole as a result. I'm happy for Oxygen that Yaga fragged out, but you can't rely on that. You gotta have somebody there to, you know, at your back to support you. In this round, it'll be a bottom floor defense, but defended from the top floor. And Ace
is available, by the way, and they're running 3 hard breachers, none of which are Ace. I mean, I guess on this bomb site, they assume that it's going to be a church defense unless XSET had gone back to Jim, which I think is unlikely. I think the church call is correct. So I just do find it kind of odd that they wouldn't bring that because there's no smokes up for them. I mean, I'm trying to look at this lineup and see what they think is going to happen here, but maybe they just want to deal with the immense amount of offsite play from XSET, knowing that that's what comes on this church defense from them. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Both of these lineups are actually kind of weird if you look at them. I mean, we don't even have a Jaeger or Omai, which kind of makes sense if you're going for a full roam, I suppose. I mean, and if you have the knowledge of a roam when you're Oxygen, I know that it sounds weird, but why not bring a Jackal? He's not like a heavy utility operator. He's not super meta right now, but he's got one of the best guns in the game in the C70, and yeah, he's going to help you with the roam clear, no matter how you look at it. Either way, I mean, we are where we are as the poster.
Here we go.
As the poster on the wall would say. I have to drop my kids off at soccer practice later today, so
that's okay. I mean, if you're a fan of either of these teams, it's going to be a close one. Oh, Filthy goes fishing and he comes back with a pretty big prize. It's Yaga. Still one more making noise behind him as that proximity alarm is giving him tons of info, but his attention is elsewhere and it's going to cost him as Kino just creeps up behind him and finishes Filthy off. That's a minute to go in this round, and now OXG have done what took them quite a while, what they were angling for, which is grabbing control of that top floor.
The diffuser.
I'm gonna be honest. I think that Filthy could have done a lot more damage there. Kino was directly behind his first victim, and he did hear the proximity alarm. I'm not sure what he thought the proximity alarm meant, other than proximity, because he didn't react to it. It was a little bit weird. Either
I don't know, frankly, if he could even hear it.
yeah, that's true. Maybe he couldn't for some reason. I'm not. Siege is weird with sound, to be fair. Either way, an exchange, and it's even. No favor yet, but I will say with the limited time we have right now, slight favor to XSET. As the vertical starts to come into Arsenal, though, Butters is in a really bad spot. He's going to need to either rotate or just fight his way out of this. It's an exchange once again, leaving us in still an even man count. But the time is dwindling. A nice frag there from Kino. He gets his third kill. The only kills for his team, but he's finally been silenced. It's Foxay and Laxing to pick up the final 2 kills. And Oxygen will take it in the dying seconds of the round.
Opening picks there, pretty even. Diffuser only went down 1 time. That was it. So it was a first half that was just defined by action. Defined by killing, defined by being able to break in and get that first pick and snowball from there. Because most of the time, the team that got the first pick ended up winning the whole round. And I mean, that's pretty common. It's something that we see quite often. So that's not really a trend line that's broken. So the one thing is that you mentioned this during our very first match of the day, which was also on Clubhouse. You said that as a map, it's trending more in the direction of being somewhat attacker favored. It's still a defender fortress based on most metrics that we have. But OXG just pulled off a 4-2 coming off of attack on Clubhouse. If that theory holds, now they've got the preferred side for the remainder of this match. Now, obviously, if we go to overtime, does that change? The answer, no, it doesn't. OXG actually holds on to 2 of those 3 defender rounds. So that also works in their favor, which is quite good for the fans of Oxygen. And it definitely seems like both Yaga and Kino have acclimated to this team very fast. And they are showing an impressive amount of restraint on a lot of those, good coordination with the rest of their team.
The thing that's shining the most for me through this whole match is the patience from Kino. Patience in gunfights, the awareness of what's happening around him, and the lack of... Guys, gals, it is Kino's first true tier 1 comp match right now. And he is sharp as attack. That is incredibly rare. And I know we're talking him up a lot, but I really do have to hammer that one home. Almost every super famous mega star in Siege's history that you could think of had a slightly bumpy start to their professional career. And maybe Kino's just having a really lucky day. Maybe it'll go worse in the future playdays, but I'm thoroughly impressed with what I'm seeing so far.
People were rating XSET quite hard. I actually think, if I remember correctly, oh my, no way, hold on, let me pause my thoughts just for a second here, because Vertical, you better count your lucky stars. I cannot believe you got away from that one, and you had backup.
Oh.
Another Roni on the board, the Roni Bros, as Yaga managed to pick off creators instead on what should have been a pretty easy capitalization from XSET in blue. But no, let me get back to my singer. I believe it was Boy Wonder, aka Stats Boy, aka Nerd Boy, Jesse Chick. I believe he had XSET in the top 4, if I recall correctly. He will fact check me live if I am incorrect. He had XSET in the top 4. Now, XSET is currently losing Oxygen 4-2, so I'm going to say that he's wrong. I'm just going to say it, and I will say that he called it too early, and there's absolutely no reason why I'm not calling it too early. But a lot of people are rating XSET really high, and right now, I mean, maybe Clubhouse just isn't their map, but after those first 2 rounds, I didn't really see a lot of things I liked out of XSET.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of things that I like particularly either. In this round, at least, they have gotten control of blue. And they're going to leverage that for a grenade kill on Kino in Arsenal and keep that flow and control over by B3. C4 from Laxing goes out, but is shot midair by Filthy, who also manages to shut Laxing down, but Vertical will get his second from, I believe, the hallway close in Church. He's still got that Roni. He's still ready to fight. He's going to try and shimmy his way into blue, but he can't. It happen. Oh no, the lack of a rotate really punishing the defense here. Foxay from behind is not able to get anything, and XSET will clean up the round just as we smack talk them. They pick up their first attack.
Still a bit of an interesting one. I'm kind of surprised actually that Foxay wasn't able to take out Filthy. That looks like it definitely should have broken in his favor. But regardless, all right, that's something good for XSET here. Not that we're trying to downplay them. I think it was Foxay who actually took to social media a week ago and said, you know, everybody's cheering for their downfall or something like that. I don't know, some crazy meme, and it's whatever you want to hype yourself up, go right ahead. But that was a good round from XSET. Towards the end, they held the control the way they needed to. They swept into the back of the bomb site. I'm kind of surprised Filthy was able to get a single kill with the Bearing 9 because that thing is unwieldy. You cannot land any shots. Anybody, even the best aimers in the world. Bearing 9, Michael? Nope. Bearing 9 is too tough.
I like the Bearing 9.
Nope, it's too tough.
It's just all about maintaining your bursts. That's it. You just have
to... Is that it?
Yeah, that is actually it. It's all about identifying the initial burst pattern and not letting it go, like not spraying too much.
Michael, I was leaning into the meme that you often see among the community about being like, the Bearing 9 couldn't hit the broadside of a barn if you're standing in front of it.
Yeah, those guys
it couldn't hit water if it fell out of a boat. One of those things. But
I mean, I think they're more critiquing themselves than anything.
Yes.
But yeah.
Michael, as a gold 1/plat 3. Can tell you right now that everything I say about the game is correct.
Oh yeah. I assume you post frequently to Reddit.
How dare you call me a Redditor? That's like the greatest. Is there a greater insult in the English language than average Redditor?
I didn't even...
Is there?
Actually, probably, but I can't think of it. I've tried to. It can't be. It's not that bad. You know, it's not. I use Reddit. I don't post on it.
Is Reddit worse than the YouTube comments? That's the real question here.
But that's a conversation. No, surely not.
It's a conversation for another day because OXG obviously didn't like what happened on that very first defense down below, but they're going to go there again. So they'll potentially roll the die, and it's going to start out in exactly the same manner as it did before, which is Yaga getting a kill on blue. This time it's going to be on Drip, though, instead. So, all right. That's your Maverick down. That's not ideal. And what a from Butters. Good night. An absolutely deleted vertical from the server, punishing him as it looked like Vert was playing upstairs without any help, just unaided roaming in CCTV.
That was a flick of the wrist there from Butters. I think that like that movement wise, he was not set up to win that fight, but he's just managed it somehow. This is interesting. I can hear every time Foxay says, what is he doing? Why is he playing there? And the man is playing in kitchen right now. Laxing's going to push up main stairs into vault. Now, he could do some work from here, and he already has actually managed to get a kill onto Butters, the man who hit the nasty shot earlier. I wonder if XSET are even going to check the kitchen. That's what I'm most interested in here, because Foxay is still in that kitchen. In fact, I don't even know. Yep, that's the Yana clone there, checking into Logi. That's good information from Thomas. The aggressive push from Laxing is necessary because he can't just linger and let himself be swung on.
That's a fadeaway with a minute to go for Laxing. He's going to scoot off, and Thomas will hit as well, dropping through the hatch. And if they can take out that Soraya gate, and there you go, toss a frag grenade, it'll give you unimpeded access right down to the bomb site. 45 seconds to go, but it looks like Thomas, well, not able to get Laxing. That's a punishing blow to the rest of his team. He's gone now, though, so Creators is the one to do it for XSET. In a 1v3, thinks he's got somebody pinned down upstairs. He'd be correct, but he doesn't have any intel as to where, so he'll play off of these openings. He gets a little bit too close to Foxay, and Foxay will swiftly end any chance of a comeback there for XSET. And even though the first round went to XSET, the very next one goes to OXG, and they are one round closer to putting this map away.
The shouting continues from both teams. Thomas was throwing in, Foxay's throwing in. What's up?
Can we mic them up, please?
Yeah.
This is an official request. I would like to start a petition, and I need your help, everybody who's watching right now. If you are watching this live, if you want my bosses to mic up the players, I need you to say yes in the chat. And if you're watching this back on a VOD, I need you to flood the comment section of this VOD requesting that we mic up the players. Maybe live, maybe in replays, maybe even as side content. But we need to hear what they're saying. A tactical timeout, by the way, has been called by XSET, so they're going to try and confer with themselves and maybe be able to mount some kind of comeback here, as they're only 2 rounds away from this matchup being done.
Yeah, things are looking a little desperate here for XSET right now. Based on what I'm seeing, I really am not surprised. The simple fact of the matter is that last round was really poorly done by XSET. And well done by Oxygen. Now, Oxygen was getting a little brazen. They were getting a little ballsy. They were going for some aggressive plays. And these are plays that you would often see people critique. These are plays that you normally wouldn't get away with if you're Oxygen. But the timing was there. The gun skill was there. The positioning, the awareness, the smarts, everything was going well for Oxygen. Foxay and Laxing in particular. They did a great job of, well, they out-ratted XSET by a country mile. It wasn't even close, in fact. It was so bad that XSET had to give up on their roam clear, mid-roam clear, because they had lost so much manpower they couldn't recover. And it was just, yeah, I mean, at that point, the round was already lost. So, yeah, well played to Oxygen. At this point, I'm not really seeing anything from XSET that's going to suggest to me they're going to make a comeback here.
I mean, we never want to write them off, because at the same time, we saw that DG-SQ matchup, and we didn't necessarily realize it would end up
That's true.
with that score line as well, right?
That's
So, entirely possible that XSET impress us and come back. It could just be an early start. Maybe it is an attacker-sided clubhouse that we're watching. I mean, we've seen Villa games like that. We've seen Villa games where we're like, wow, this team is indisputably better. They just took attack on Villa 4-2. And the next team takes attack on Villa 5-1, and you go, oh my goodness gracious, we were wrong.
I were wrong a lot, Parker.
Well, I mean, because our job is to actively speculate, and there's so many things in this game that we can't see, and a lot of times where a simple coin toss would actually be better at predicting what exactly is happening than any of us. So,
game has many variables.
XSET has changed some things up. They're bringing a Capitao here. This will likely be done to combat Kino, who's playing up on the rafters of Garage. With Wamai banned out, there is nothing to stop those fire arrows. So if Kino is not paying attention, he will meet a fiery demise.
Well, that's a good pick there from Thomas to bring the Capitao. We don't often see that, but this is one of the instances, one of the rare instances where Capitao is truly useful at a competitive level. Used to be far more useful, but as of late, he's just kind of fallen out of favor. Now, while you can use his bolts to push somebody off of rafters, it is not an easy task. Getting the angles can be somewhat difficult. We'll see if Thomas is able to do that. Kino is on cam right now, so whatever happens, he's exposed to it. He's got Vertical down in Oil Pit trying to support him. Nobody over in Lounge or by Concrete. Thomas is just pre-firing to pre-fire.
He hates motorcycles.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is.
It's in his bio. Thomas hates motorcycles. That's
Right.
why he was lighting it up.
Of course, of course. And so far, we haven't really seen any serious action go out.
Oh, that's a great pick, though, from Filthy onto Kino, so they didn't even need to use any utility. You can see that Thomas is still chock full of it. 2 fire arrows, 2 smoke arrows, and he can put them out wherever he so choose.
Still not control of Garage yet. The smoke, though, well placed, and that's going to disable the position of Oil Pit. Vertical is not going to be able to do anything through that smoke, and he'll have to fall off and reconvene with his teammates in sight to actually be useful in this round. Valkyrie Cam's marking the players in Garage. I'm not sure why they went for a red mark. I don't think that was the right play. Now the attackers know there's a Valkyrie Cam in Garage. They'll find it eventually.
This is amazing. Talk about ammunition. With all the shooting that Thomas has done, he still has over 300 and something bullets left, but he's going to try to give some clear access as there goes one of the gates and allows Thomas to have a better vantage point on in. The problem is that OXG has 2 different players that were very deep off site. They need to get back, and they need to get back very quickly, because if Laxing and Vertical can't come to the rescue, Foxay will be overwhelmed in a 1v5 on the bomb site. Drip attempting the plant. Foxay doesn't maybe necessarily know. He's got a nitro cell in hand, though. It'll go off, and it downs Filthy, but it's in the wrong direction. XSET managed to get the objective down with every single member of their team still alive. Both Laxing and Vertical unable to get back to the bomb site. They're found out. They're punished for it. So Fox in a 1v5. It certainly seems like that tactical timeout worked quite effectively for XSET. Fox has about 25 seconds remaining, but a flawless round for XSET will be the final rubber stamp on that round, and we'll put it in the drawer. XSET, 1 round closer to tying up the game.
That's the best round we've seen so far from XSET, that's for sure. And of course, Tommy is letting them know. See, make sure to actually alert the entire arena, possibly the block. Not really sure. I can barely hear him. I'm in California, but you know.
I'm in Toronto and I heard him, so.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, pretty loud. We are seeing, in my opinion, better rounds out of XSET over the last few. They're starting to catch their stride. However, I'd still venture that they're leaving a lot of gaps in their attacks. And most of that round, to me, comes down to the fact that Kino got picked off early. He's been having a great match so far, but he really should not have died as the smoke with what? I think he still had 3 gas canisters in his pocket in Garage. I don't know. Personally, I don't even think Smoke should be playing Garage. That's just my opinion. But if you're doing it, you can't be dying that early.
Yeah. And I mean, where was he going to go? Was there a full rotate there? It didn't look like there was a full rotate. So if I remember correctly, the wall was shot up, but was still relatively closed. So he didn't have an avenue to get back to the bomb site. The only way he could have gone would have been through the window. Now, anybody that knows that the moment you open up that garage wall, that window is a death trap. So nobody's going to be able to make it through there alive if you're playing up who's got good aim. And I mean, you're playing on LAN right now with all 10 of these players in the lobby. Nobody in here's got bad aim. So really rough spot for Kino to find himself in, basically playing to die. And there are lots of strategies where a player will play to die. It's not always your smoke. There are usually more expendable operators that you can use because you need that smoke to stay alive, or else your only plant denial is going to be in the hands of a nitro cell. And bless Foxay, he tried with that nitro cell, but didn't come quite close enough.
Looks like a typical setup here for Jim. Nothing special at all. It's just going to be your cash roam. Basic setup on top red for added support. Yaga's the one in the hot seat. Not an easy position to play, but he's going to be trying to hold on to top red. Even with the shield, it's difficult to hold. Once again, the Capitao being brought here from Thomas. It put in good work last time he brought it, so hey, why not again? Yaga will be droned out top red there. The information's been relayed to the rest of XSET, and he's actually going to rotate. He will leave. Wow, I am surprised by how swiftly he got out of there. He could have probably wasted a little bit more time, but he's going to dip straight out to the main door. Laxing now alone between a rock and a hard place inside of Cash.
This is really tough. It's a position where the only way out is to fight your way out. And remember what I just said about playing to die? Well, it certainly seems like in that instance, that's going to be Laxing's spot. Now, there are a couple teams in NA who've tried this, and they've had middling results. Foxay with the nitro cell out there. He does a lot of damage to creators. Laxing on this stand, though, by the way, it's working out so far. He takes down Butters, and now Creators takes out Yaga. Both teams back and forth. That 1 HP from Creators is really all it takes to be able to get the kill. So now Thomas is in pursuit of Laxing, but the problem is that XSET were not coordinated enough to pinch him at the same time. So now Laxing has made his way to construction. And if he doesn't peek, and he doesn't give them an inch, XSET are going to be in trouble trying to flush him out.
Looks like Laxing is going to play the patience card, something he's very good at doing, and they're not even droning him out. I don't know if they are aware that Laxing is still in this corner. In fact, yeah, they're not. They are just straight up not aware, and that's going to be an easy kill there for Laxing. He'll pre-fire on the drop just in case, but it wasn't necessary. Nobody was there to play and for refrag on Thomas. Now XSET found themselves 1 man down, and with Creators being on this low HP, what was that, like 2 HP? It's unlikely that XSET's gonna be able to clutch this one up. It's all on Drip and Filthy, really.
So Foxay can wait, knows that the Goyle shield is in his way, and stop somebody if they choose to push up. He's aided a little bit by the smoke flung out from the bathroom of Kino, who shrugs off a little bit of damage, knowing that there's one at the breach hole. Foxay swings, and Kino doesn't need to be too responsible for that. It sounds like it's a proximity alarm. Can't really tell what that noise was. Vertical finds yet another for OXG. So XSET, with 10 seconds left, have Creators in a 1v4. Make that a none v4 as OXG take the round, and they're on match point.
Well played there to Oxygen. They were doing very well, I'd say, overall on the cash roam. I do think that Oxygen was playing with fire when they called the Yaga off of top red. I think that was a little too early. That's Union, of course, and it worked out. I mean, Laxing managed to get 2 picks over by Cash thanks to his excellent play. He's one of those premier lurkers that you really cannot deal with sometimes, and he proved that in that round. Apart from that, XSET really didn't answer back with much. And one thing that is striking to me is that once XSET thought, oh, hey, we might have cash control, they pushed just Thomas alone into cash. No, you need at least 2 people on that push before you have for sure 100% control. And, well, XSET didn't have that control. They just weren't aware of it. Assumptions, there's a saying about assumptions. I guess I'm not supposed to say it. Either which way about it, though, not a great round there from XSET. So, we're moving on to another defense. It's going to be the bottom floor this time, and we'll have a top defense as well to try and, delay the possible. We've been seeing this extended hold on the bottom floor a lot. It actually, kind of surprisingly, hasn't been the most successful this season. A bit weird. I think it's had a higher success rate in the past. This strategy is interesting. It adds a little bit of buffer to your defense, but it is ultimately very vulnerable to a concise and focused attack. So we'll see what XSET shows us. They haven't been showing us a lot of those kinds of attacks. They got one of those in when they were executing onto Garage on the cash defense. That was an excellent execution. Apart from that, they've been struggling on the attacking half. We'll see how they struggle against these roamers from Oxygen. Droning going into server. Yaga has been spotted, but he's able to destroy the drone, which means that he is not going to be forced out of his position just yet. As well, he's got that camera inside a garage, feeding him constant information. I guarantee you someone like Kino is on that cam calling out for him right now. So that's good information being relayed, and that's going to allow Yaga to play off of information rather than just guessing. So he'll fall back over to the west side of the top floor to further delay the round and continuing to just try and slow XSET's attack. Hasn't been able to get a pick yet, but that's not his focus. This has been a pretty fast clear, though, I'd say, for XSET overall. If anything, I'm impressed at how speedy they've been on the actual top floor. They've been struggling with getting jobs done on attack, and that's not the case in this round. Not as much time being wasted here as I think Oxygen is hoping for. But there's still time to burn. And speaking of things to burn, it's Yaga who gets burnt here by Thomas on the entry. The Jackal was the right pick, as he's able to assist in killing the Mozzie. No refrag from Laxing. He's expecting somebody to be closer, and that's because he heard Thomas in the bathroom. So the shotgun does not help him against Butters. Now Oxygen on the back foot here. 3 versus 5 with only a minute. That's actually plenty of time for XSET to set up their attack. And it doesn't look like there are any players on Oxygen in rat positions. So it's, well, I mean, besides maybe Foxy at the bottom of main stairs. So it's mostly going to be an XSET round as long as they don't overstep their bounds. So, with 40 seconds left, XSET opening up the drop downs, starting to get ready for their execution. They've already got pressure applied to Armory. They're going to start and get control of the actual Armory itself. Lots of damage done to these XSET players, but still no kills. And as Thomas comes behind Kino inside of blue, he's able to get a great frag that will give good control, but even though Vertical got 1 kill over by Church Wall, he wasn't able to do anything there, and I think that's the expected result.
Well, from what I saw of about half of that round, it looked pretty confident, but once again, big shout out to my internet for dropping for all of 15 seconds. That's breaking every single thing.
Yeah, I don't. That's unfortunate, Parker.
We are gonna have, with the exception of that that second matchup, we are destined to have close matches here. 12 rounds needed. 12 rounds always needed. And I mean, XSET have looked much sharper this time around. Round number 9, we didn't really get to break it down too much. You talked about it. Was the best round that they've had so far. They got the opening pick. They get diffuser down. It was a flawless round. They win the whole thing. Hard other than one person acing for that to be a more noteworthy round. And then immediately they answer back with what was that a flawless round as well at the end there?
Close.
Again, was XSET just absolutely steamrolling the competition.
Yeah, 1 kill for Oxygen. I think Vertical was the one to get it, but essentially a flawless round, Parker, as that kill came at the very end of the round, last 2 seconds. So, you know, you could call it flawless. You could call it whatever you want to call it. It was a one-sided affair for XSET, and that's the second execution we've seen from them that looked completely one-sided. No competition put up from Oxygen. And it's weird. It's weird, Parker, because it seems like XSET is either hitting real hard or they didn't even bring their punches. I don't... Are you there, Parker?
Yes, but I think it's funny. What if I just stay quiet and you always wonder?
Well, because I'll think your internet dropped again.
No, I will send you panicked messages telling you,
Well, you did
telling you
this
such
time.
nice things.
Yeah, this time, the last time, I had no idea. This time, Parker messaged me. And
Well,
that was less confusing.
Enough about my internet, because it's already being too much of a diva for my own liking, but
It's not your fault.
let's focus on this. This is what? This is the 4th church defense for OXG, which is really a remarkable thing when you come to think of it, because you don't usually get that many cracks at defending here. The only 2 rounds that went in favor of Oxygen were Gym and Church. They went to cash once, and that was it. The experiment was essentially over. So now you look downstairs at how they're going to defend this particular bomb site, and well, a minute off the clock, XSET are clearing out that top floor before pivoting over to the mid floor. Laxing on dock inside a dirt tunnel is going to be fascinating to watch. It's a strong spot to be in. Doc doesn't have access to that same ACOG that he used to, but he can still lay down some serious firepower with an MP5.
Certainly can. Put in the right hands, the MP5 from Doc is a versatile weapon. Big difference here in the setup for Oxygen. Last time they went for an extended roam. This time they're going for a hard bunker. And, well, I mean, all things considered, this is working out better for Oxygen so far. Because last time we were here, around the same amount of time left on the clock, XSET had already picked up 3 kills, and they were about to completely destroy the site, which they did end up doing. So Oxygen are at least looking better than they did last time they defended the bottom floor.
Yeah, not giving up any deaths early, usually a pretty good sign. And a small bit of that church wall has been punctured, which is what Vertical is looking at. You can see staring low. Just to see if somebody's going to try to push from that particular answer right now is no. As you can see, most of that first floor around kitchen and around the stairs has been completely opened up. OXG are aware of the push needing to be a drop. So as long as you can keep yourself safe by that kitchen hatch, you can usually get 1 or 2 picks when they eventually come in that angle. So instead, XSET are going to change things up, and they'll drop from the Moto hatch instead, and Drip with a grenade in hand, well, he's going to try to do some damage here. There it goes. Out in front of him, gets eaten by an ADS. He'll engage, but lose the fight to Kino, who guards over top of the table, loses the follow-up to Creators, but OXG's guns, they're finding their marks. They end up trading out and are ahead in terms of man count, with Yaga still laying waste from inside of blue. He downs 1, but now Thomas will have to shoulder more of the load. Down goes Filthy, and OXG prevent overtime, and with a scoreline of 7-5, they take it against XSET.
GG's come out in the chat and out of Foxay's mouth, evidently. We don't actually know what he's saying, but you could tell he's very
them up.
Mic them up. Yes, we should. And they look incredibly enthusiastic. Congratulations to Oxygen. I would say a deserved win there. They played very well. XSET had some magnificent rounds. I got to say this again, Parker. XSET looked amazing sometimes. What's up with that? Like they had these awesome rounds where they looked completely unstoppable, and then they had these rounds where they're just like floundering, barely even present. What is going on?
I mean, it's a newish team. They're obviously still figuring things out. There's been a subtle meta shift